Okay, in this lesson we're going to continue on with standard form of a linear equation. We're actually going to start taking equations and write them in standard form. So the first example that I have is write y equals 3x plus 5 in standard form using integer coefficients. Remember, standard form is ax plus by equals c. Okay, what we're doing here basically is taking an equation that's in slope-intercept form, y equals 3x plus 5, and we're going to rearrange it so that it's in standard form. Okay, the difference between slope-intercept and standard, slope-intercept is solved for y. So on one side you have the y term and the constant and x term are on the other. In standard form, both the x and y term are on one side with the constant on the other. So what you have is y equals 3x plus 5. The first thing we have to do is get all the x's and y's onto one side of the equation. So the way I'm going to do that here is subtract 3x from both sides. If I subtract 3x from both sides, I would have negative 3x plus y is equal to 5. Okay, that is the answer in standard form. That's all there really is to this one. I already have integer coefficients. The coefficient of x is negative 3. The coefficient of y is 1. Those are both integers. Okay, well, every time I write an answer in standard form, there also is another answer I could have if I just multiply my equation by negative 1. And what that does basically is take every term on my equation and make it its opposite. So this would become positive 3x, the y would become negative y, and my 5 would become negative 5. And so there are two correct answers to this. 3x minus y equals negative 5. So that's all I did was take an equation from slope-intercept and write it in standard form. I have two examples like this where it says to write an equation in standard form of the line that passes through the given point and has the given slope. I'm going to do this two different ways. And the first way that I'm going to do it is using slope-intercept. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do what we've done before. I'm going to write an equation in slope-intercept form, and then I'm going to do what I did on this page. I'm going to rewrite my slope-intercept form equation into standard form. So the way this would work is slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Remember here I know x, y, and m. So I just plug everything in. Y is 1, m is 3/4, x is negative 5, and I'm trying to find b. So that's negative 15/4, which is negative 3 and 3/4, plus b. I add 3 and 3/4 to each side. And this should be familiar, we've done this before. And this allows me to write my answer in slope-intercept form. Y is going to be equal to 3/4 x plus 4 and 3/4. Okay, so now I have it in slope-intercept. What I want to do then is convert this into standard form. I really have two things that need to happen. I need to move my x term to be on the same side of the equation as the y term, and I need to get integer coefficients. So I'm going to get the integer coefficients first. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'll take my equation, let's just write that down. Y equals 3/4 x plus 4 and 3/4. The first thing that I'm going to do is multiply everything by 4. Multiplying by 4 is going to allow me to get rid of the fractions on the right side. And so this would be 4y. Over on the other side, the right side becomes 3x plus 19. Okay, so by multiplying by 4, which was the denominator of both fractions, I now have an equation that has no fractions. Everything's an integer. So then all I have to do is subtract 3x from both sides, since 3x is positive. When you do that, you get negative 3x plus 4y equals 19. And there's my answer in the standard form. And remember also that if I were to multiply everything there by negative 1, and that would give me a second correct answer. So I have 3x minus 4y equals negative 19. Either one of those two things is going to be correct. The slope, remember, is the opposite of a over b. So I have a and b, one's positive, one's negative, so a over b is negative 3/4. The opposite of that is positive 3/4. That's what it told us the slope was. I can plug in these points right here and make sure that they work. Now they should work in either one. So that's doing slope-intercept form. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this using standard form. And what that means is I'm going to take the fact that my slope is 3/4, right? And then remember that the slope is always the opposite of a over b. So using the fact that the slope is always the opposite of a over b, if I have positive 3/4, right, 3/4 is equal to the opposite of 3 over negative 4. Okay, that allows me to determine that a is 3 and b is negative 4. Right, what I generally do is anytime the slope is positive, I make my b value or my coefficient of y negative, and I make my a value or coefficient of x positive. You can switch that around, as you'll see at the end. You'll get different answers. So now what I have is 3x, because 3 is a, plus, b minus 4y. Okay, since b is negative, I have minus, and that equals c. Now I have the ordered pair up here again. This is x. Okay. This is y. Okay, so now I can just plug those in. 3 times negative 5 minus 4 times 1 is equal to c. Negative 15 minus 4 is equal to c. Negative 19 is equal to c. And I'll just write my equation then. 3x minus 4y is equal to negative 19. Okay, or if I multiply everything by negative 1, I get negative 3x plus 4y equals 19. And those two answers that I have right there should match up with what I had over here. 3x minus 4y equals negative 19, negative 3x plus 4y. And I did that by understanding the slope is the opposite of a over b. It allowed me to find the values of a and b right here. Once I knew those, I plugged them in and I found out c. And I knew that, I just wrote my equation. All right, now the next one, I'll do it two ways again. Slope-intercept way, where again you have x, y, and m. And when we plug that in, we're going to get negative 8 equals negative 2 times 6 plus b. Negative 8 equals negative 12 plus b. Therefore, b is 4. That allows me to write the equation negative 2x plus 4. Okay, to put it into standard form, I just have to add 2x to each side. I get 2x plus y is equal to 4. If I multiply everything by negative 1, I get negative 2x minus y equals negative 4. And my slope is the opposite of a over b. Okay, that works. The ordered pair, when you put it in, 6, 2 times 6 is 12, plus negative 8 is 4. It'll also work on the second one. So that's doing it slope-intercept. And now I'm going to do it the standard form way. In standard form way, I have to again remember that the slope equals the opposite of a over b. So since the slope is negative 2 over 1. And then I have the opposite, and then I would have 2 over 1. Okay, since the slope is negative, that just means that a and b are both positive. A is equal to 2, b is equal to 1. And I can then write 2x plus 1y is equal to c. I plug my x and y values in that I just had over here. X is 6, y is negative 1. Or sorry, y is negative 8. And I get 12 minus 8 equals c. And I get that 4 is equal to c. And then I can just write my answer. 2x plus 1y equals 4. That works. Or if I multiply everything by negative 1, negative 2x minus 1y equals negative 4. Okay, so you have method 1, which is where you use slope-intercept. You do what we've done on every other problem, and then rewrite it into standard form. Or you do method 2, where you take the slope and identify a and b, and then you use that to determine the value of c. I have one more example, and in this one, I have two ordered pairs. So the first thing you got to do is find the slope. Okay, once I find the slope, which in this is going to be 3 minus 0, negative 5 minus 3. Slope is negative 3/8. Okay, from here, I'll do it two different ways. I'll do slope-intercept, and on the next page, I'll do it using standard form. So here you have y equals mx plus b. You can pick either ordered pair you want. I'm going to take the first one because it's got the 0 in it for y. Y is equal to slope is negative 3/8 times x is 3 plus b. This is negative 1 1/8 plus b makes 1 1/8. And so if you write that equation, y equals negative 3/8 x plus 1 1/8. Now to put that in standard form again, this is going to be transferred to standard. And so the way you'll do that, multiply everything by 8. And that's going to get us to get rid of the variables, or sorry, the fractions. 1/8. And this would be 8y equals negative 3x, and that'd be plus 9. Okay, I then need to add 3x to both sides. You get 3x plus 8y equals 9. Now, if both ordered pairs work, it's correct. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 8 times 0 is 0, 9 plus 0 is 9. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. 8 times 3 is 24. Negative 15 times 24 is 9. Remember, we can multiply everything by negative 1. We get negative 3x minus 8y equals negative 9. And that works. So that's doing slope-intercept. Put it in slope-intercept form first, and then transfer it into standard. Multiply to get rid of the denominators, and then bring the x term over with the y term. And now the last one that I'll do, the last second method, is the standard form method. And remember, we found the slope to be negative 3/8, okay? And then so slope is always the opposite of a over b. Since the slope is negative 3/8, okay, that's the opposite of 3 over 8. That allows me to identify a as 3, b as 8. And again, a negative slope, they're both positive. We'll do 3x plus 8y equals c. And then I will use one of my ordered pairs. Okay, I'm going to use the other ordered pair was negative 5, 3. I'm going to use this one, right, because of the 0. 3 times 3 plus 8 times 0 equals C. 9 plus 0 equals C. 9 is C. And you just write your answers. And my answer would be 3x plus 8y equals 9. And if I multiply everything by -1, I get that other answer that I had on the other page. 3x minus 8y equals -9. And so I've shown you two different ways to write equations in standard form. You can use slope-intercept, put it in slope-intercept, rewrite it into standard, right? Or you could use standard all the way, find what the values of A and B are, and then use those to find the value of C.